Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Silver and Black Experience. I'm your host, Rafael Chacines, known as El Capitán Rafucho. How's it going? Today is Thursday because this is a special day, and right now we're talking about a quick recap of what's happened between the game against Chargers, which is means the Bulls, and I mean Chelsea Herbert had whoop his ass right here, and of course the preview is gonna be for our next game against Cardinals. So this show right here, Civil and Black Experience, this is a show without filter. No drama, no bullshit, and of course, no problem. Because just grab a drink and enjoy the show. And of course, welcome aboard for the Black Hole. So right now, there was a lot of feelings that I would talk to about Raiders versus Chargers. I mean, that was really tough. Really tough. I mean, this is tremendous. And I thought the defense got enough power to stop the Chargers defense without JC Jackson. But it clearly that is too late because over over the first and second quarter, the defense and the offensive line was rusty. And of course they don't have much productivity. But there's one man that he put all the effort right here, which is Nate Hobbs. And I just told in another live stream that, of course, over the past episodes, that Nate Hobbs was an X factor for the game against Chargers. And I think that, well, there's a lot of possibility to see what's going on for the future. Because last season, he just went for injury season. Everybody thought that, well, it's going to be under surgery. But he knew that he was healthy about the season right here. But Nate Hobbs was tremendously on the season. But the defense of Chargers was really good, to be honest. But I really thought that, well, they can't handle about stop doing some of their favorite things. But there's like social media, and then of course there's game reactions about that. Should we blame Derek Carr about that game against Chargers? Well, I think that I'm gonna reserve the opinion right here because Derek Carr's 9 year with the Raiders was was excellent. But I just wanted to say about it. The scouting report for 2014, is it still haunting? Is it still chasing out for everybody else? I mean, it's nothing to compare about it. So I thought it was good enough for that. But my whole point right here, I just thought that, well, something that went wrong for the defense at the offline. I mean, it kind of happened like that. It kind of happened. But I just wanted to say that, well, should we blame about Derek Carr about his performance and of course his about his role and about the quarterback? I mean, it happens because it happens for the first game of the season because not everyone has it up with the roster right here because there's no time to hit the panic button. There's no time to hit the panic button because right now it is time to roll to recover and of course to have to feel it because the first year under the new regime of Josh McDaniels and of course Eb Ziegler could be hard, but it has to be like to recover because right now let's not forget about the bad things that happened for the last season right here because we just went to the playoffs against Cincinnati Bengals and we just lost it. And we have Rich Biscasia as an interim head coach after John Gruden was head out for a hedge cough with the Raiders because the email chronicles was a long list of what happens for the John Gruden's email chronicles. But let's see what we got it all be here. All right, so guys, there's a link right here, and of course, if you want to come in for the talking about what's going on for the game against Chargers right here. So here's the link right here. So right now we had a guest right here on the backstage right here. So I'm gonna bring my good friend right here, Auntie Sid Solder. How's it going?
How you doing, Ralph? How you doing, Cap? Everything good, brother?
Yeah, I'm very good right here. So tell me about the impressions about the game against Chargers because that game against, I mean, that was really different right here because we had Nate Hobbs doing a good factor for the Raiders, and of course they have a massive debut of Devonte Adams. But I think that the defense at the offline was a little rusty right here, and some people they just blame about Derek Carr about leadership or about the quarterback because I know this is 9 year as a Raider, so and of course the Chargers defense without Jason Jackson was really about it. And of course, Justin Herbert was well figured it out how to the weakest point about the Raiders. So, am I doing wrong about it? So, tell me that about the impressions about the Raiders versus Chargers, and of course, should we tell it about what's going on for the defense at the offline? So,
Well, first of all, Ralph, thanks for having me on the show, brother. I appreciate it. My thoughts about the Chargers game, brother. I just think we played sloppily in general, from the offensive line to even some of the defensive players and stuff. But at the same time, you know what I mean? The defense did its job at the end of the game. You just want to have a chance with the ball in your hands to win the game. And the defense did their job, brother. At the end of the day, we didn't lose because of Derek Carr, but he's a big reason why we lost. You know what I mean? You can put one A Derek Carr and then one B will be the offensive line. You know what I mean? Especially too, even some of the play calling too. You can blame it on Josh McDaniels too. Especially in the preseason, we were running a lot of screens and you know what I mean to the running backs, and we didn't do that at all. We came out to throw the ball with our sketchy offensive line against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, which I didn't like at all. Especially in the first quarter, you know what I mean. You only ran it 2 times. I know we have a shiny new weapon in Devonte Adams, but we still need to run the ball instead of the pass.
yeah, exactly about it. But I just figured it out because the defensive, the offline was a little rusty. But
Yeah,
I think the first year under the new regime of Josh McDaniels and Dave Silva could be hard because that's just like a refreshing, and of course it's just like there's some players that have played good, and of course Nate Hobbs was doing like a X factor, and of course there's the debut of Devonte Adams joining up with Derek Carr was tremendously, but doesn't fit enough to to beat the Chargers defense or the offline. But I think that the most confidential about it because that's the first game right here. This is the first game, which is away game, but it just said about how many times that I got the throw off Derek Carr, how many catches did they have, because he complete 22 37 attempts, including touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. And they're not gonna sit there and go, we're gonna get 20, 10. So if the ball is snapped or even before that, there was like decisions about what's happening because they knew the ball was going and they throw over there that and just move on. Whatever they complete with his touchdown complete, it didn't matter. But I think they had those smart decisions. And whatever it takes about Derek Carr's last performance, well, it's underneath because that's the first game because we don't have to hit the panic bottom. And
yeah,
I will say that about it. Wasn't good enough for that, but we just recover, we just bounce back, and everything is about it.
yeah. And the thing is, too, all these Raider fans that are panicking and saying that we need to go trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, you guys make no sense. Okay, say if you were to go trade for Jimmy G and put him behind this offensive line, the same thing will happen. The smart thing to be do right now is just to trade for offensive lineman or sign somebody and just try to improve from the inside. Bringing another quarterback here is not going to solve our problem. You know what I mean? And relax, guys. It's just the first game of the season. It's the first time this offensive line has played together. It's the first time these players were in a live action. You know what I mean? They had to communicate. They had to read the blitzes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what happens when you don't play your players in the preseason. You know what I mean? They're rusty and stuff. Consider this the first game. I mean, consider this like a preseason game for our offense and everybody. You know what I mean? It sucked that we didn't win. You know what I mean? But everybody played garbage. Most of them did. You know what I mean? Except for Nate Hobbs and Devonte Adams. You know, there's a couple other players that played pretty good. But you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we just got to put this behind us and just move on to the next game because we have the Cardinals coming in. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs blew them out. And I believe we can do the same if we just establish a run and we're able to get to Cal Murray.
Yes, it is. And of course, we just wanted to talk about what's going on for the Raiders versus Chargers. But right now we gotta move on what's happening about Las Vegas Raiders versus Arizona Cardinals. So there's one player. I mean, there's three players could be like important factor, like important X factor for the Raiders games against Arizona Cardinals. There's three. There's Dallin Parham, Lester Cotton, and of course Derek Waller. First, Darren Waller will be like a factor for the Raiders because in the first half against the Chargers, Darren Waller only had one catch in 15 yards, while Vegas averaged 3.88 yards per play and just scored three just points. However, the third and fourth quarter were a completely different story, and the jump out three catches for 64 yards, and of course, with a total of 7.9 yards per play and 16 points scored. But don't get me wrong about that, because Devonte Adams, they should be like the guy part of the benefit of having like open things like Waller when Derek Carr, the offense need to take advantage for earlier the game. But what are the good news for Darren Waller is they got scorched by Travis Kelce, who had 8 grabs and 9 targets for 120 yards, a touchdown, and 7 first down. Seeing that number should we make Waller fun of the most since he had the same regard as Kelce, but for the Arizona SIH Diamonds was a recital linebacker who primarily had safety in college. So he had like privileged codes. So it's just like in a matter he can put like together to turn potential like production. And he's failed at his 2 seasons in one game of his career. Waller has a chance to cement himself as a top player at the position, but which would help with the Freitas offense will be more efficient. But they had to beat a couple of another impressive athletes to come defeat. So I just thinking about maybe the lack of the deal size for the NFL safety, but he was raking off 11 combined receptions and pass breakup in 2020, and he also allowed it a reception every time with the 29 coverage last season. And of course, there's another players like Dylan Perham and Lester Cotton. Both guys like Dylan Parham and Lester Cotton. Parham has ended the start last week, taking 35 of the 58 total snaps. The results were real positive. He teamed a lot of the pressure to Aaron, 73 pass blocking grade, and had the fourth highest run block grade at the position. And ranked third with overall grade as well. I think that was an amazing to have coverage of about the red zone. But also the win to Cotton has a pitch of shout out in the pass protection, but he earned a higher mark at 9 the most guard. So both guys wasn't it the player that used to make no mistake about it, but he's still capable to breaking havoc on the opponent's backfield because he just missed the last week with a calf injury. But which means the Raiders right guards, we had the NFL star between them, they had the chance to make name for themselves that went against the all-time greatest. So can you tell us about the X factor about what's going on for the game against Cardinals? So you can name one player who could be an important factor for the Raiders game against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I think an X factor for us is Andre James because he's injured and in the a concussion protocol and he hasn't been cleared yet. So if he doesn't play, that means my boy Dylan Parham's going to start in there. And the thing is too, he's a rookie and it's going to be his first time playing in live action. You know what I mean? So that means he has to read the blitzes, he has to make the calls, he has to make the adjustments. You know what I mean? And I'm not really that comfortable. So I'm hoping to God that Andre James plays that game because we need him, especially as much as our offensive line struggled last week.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think Andrew James was tremendous right there. But even though they had the abuse of the party right here, and I just read that about the tweet that Dylan Parham is filling for Andrew James at center as expected. So he worked at the guard for the some snaps during this season. Opera didn't play well, but he may be like the ultimate take over as a team starting right guard. But right now he's needed for the center. So at least James returns about after the concussion it was after the game of Chargers game. So it could be like a good factor for Andrew James and of course Dylan Parham, which is amazing.
Yeah, I feel you, Ralph. Another thing is too. You know what I mean. We have to make sure Colorado doesn't get out the pocket too. You know what I mean. We got to make sure we stop him. You know what I mean. Especially too, I think it's a big advantage us having Chandler Jones because he went against that offense in practice a lot. He knows it pretty good. You know what I mean. And then he does know their defenses too. You know what I mean. So hopefully, that'll be we get a little bit of inside information that we can use in the game to help us out.
Yeah, exactly about that. And of course, there are people who are sleeping about Emick Robertson. Because with the starters Nate Hobbs and Rocky Sin, they had the fans full. But the Raiders' depth chart had the cornerback we would likely even had like a factor since the Cardinals had three solid receivers. So there's like a couple for new faces in the middle room for Las Vegas. Emick Robertson is one of that has the ability to longest and they need to want to step up. Because last week he lost 14 snaps after Abram were down. And where Robinson wasn't getting targeted about it, he missed a tackle, which is a problem from the past and the reason he got benched last season. That cannot be happening this Sunday, as the Raiders need to be on the best. And if he hasn't, they might end up with a 3-year veteran last opportunity to prove himself. And of course, there's another play who could be like a fetcher, which is Jonathan Abram. He put a solid season debut last week, leading the team with total tackles with 12, allowing three only catches on 6 targets for 11 yards. But I think I just missed the pressure at the pass rusher. Perhaps his most impressive was having one missed tackle despite he's so active. In addition to the storm, he had to be careful about Kyle Murray because Kyle Murray has been known for make plays for the slugs and is over 1,000 rushing yards and more than 20 rushing touchdowns in his young career. There's part of the reason he's able to show impressive numbers as a rusher, but he's extremely shifty and there's hard to the Brown about it. Because last season, Kyle Murray was forced 59 missed tackles. And this behind Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And he had four more last week. But with the Raiders likely like playing like a lot of sun coverage to keep the scrambler quarterback at the bay, they put him in a lot of open field tackle situations because they have a great tight end, which is Stack Earth, which just became for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now he was coming for a 74-yard and 5 touchdown campaign. Coveting that tight ends, with especially the real good ones of this league, has been like an issue for Abram. So they need to on the opportunity how much is going up. And for Las Vegas is going to need him to take over the weapons for Murray, especially if Trayvon Morgan can go after leaving the jury after for the game against Chargers. So he might be doing about it.
Yeah, and the thing is too, their offensive line really struggled against the Chiefs. And the thing is, we have a way better defensive line than the Chiefs do. So I think we have the big advantage there. And I'm hoping that Max Crosby and Chandler Jones go off in this game. You know what I mean? Even Bilal Nichols, he had a good game, first game against the Chargers. And the thing is too, Dylan Parham had a, like you said earlier, he had an amazing game. And that Chargers defensive line is like the least top 5 in the league. You know what I mean? And for a rookie to go out there his first game to perform like that, that was really impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly about it. And of course, there's something that I would love to show it about the video, but I think that I'm gonna send them out for that. I think that I'm gonna send them out for the for everything about it. So let's see. All right. So I'm gonna share about this a little bit of video of Devonte Adams, which is amazing. So I'm gonna check this out right here.
He does a little stir move. Asante Samuel goes to the inside, and don't feel bad. That's happened to a lot of DBs over the course of Devonte Adams' career. He does a little stir move.
I mean, yes, I mean, I think that well, Devonte Adams has a solid debut, so I think there is a lot of improvement right here because Devonte Adams is still at greatest. Even they just went from Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers was still crying because they just lost Devonte Adams because right now it's ours. But don't think that about this is gonna be over because his mentality of beast of Devonte Adams, boy, is gonna be like a great season for anything.
Yeah, and the thing is too, Devontae Adams had more touchdown catches and receiving yards than all the Green Bay Packers wide receivers. You know what I mean? And you can tell during the game against Aaron Rodgers was frustrated, especially when he threw that ball to the wide receiver for a 70-yard touchdown. He just dropped it. You know what I mean? And it just, you know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers is going to struggle this year. He's going to miss Devontae Adams because there ain't no way in heck they have another Devontae Adams on that roster. They don't grow on trees. That's why he's the best wide receiver in the game. Just by that clip that you just showed right now, his running is amazing. His A1 is top notch. He can do that all day. All we need is this offensive line to be average and just give Derek Carr enough time just to him find Devonte Adams, find the Renfro, Darren Waller, everybody, all these weapons we have on offense. So I'm really excited.
Hmm. So right now we just move on because right now I just see it what happened right here because there's three players who questionable about the game against Arizona Cardinals. First, they got Andrew James, which is center. He's
Yeah,
questionable. Also, there is Denzel Perryman, which is questionable. Brandon Bolden for a running back is questionable. And also
yeah,
there's for the injury reserve, there's Anthony Averett, and of course, DJ Turner, which is the right receiver.
yeah,
And of course, there's four players have been questionable, which is Jalen Thompson, J.J. Watt, Rondale Moore, Andy Isabella, and there's one player who will be out, which is the offensive tackle Rashad Coward. So we might be taking a lot of advantage because right now, the last season, the Arizona Cardinals, they just went for 7 straight games winning at the first weeks. So it's just like unbelievable because that offense, the offline was tremendously good. Even Colin Murray was doing at his best. But right now we need to be careful about the offensive line and the defense because it all matters. It all matters against Arizona on this Sunday. If we have those weapons and we have this gelling of the offense and the defense, if we had enough gel of the defense and the offense lines. So it might be happen. It might be happening for this Sunday. And if Jared Carr, which is a quarterback, has played more aggressively and they had not to do a mistake, we might be good about because we might be good because this is the home opener. The home opener for Las Vegas Raiders at the Allegiant Stadium. It might happen because we ain't gonna last it about because some teams they just start with all wins and 2 losses and then make the playoffs. But it
yeah.
might be changed a lot. It might be changed if we got enough productivity and of course enough power and mentality for the defense and the offensive line if we play more aggressively at the red zone. And we might be careful about the Arizona Cardinals, so it might be coming after them. So and it tells us about the week 2 against Arizona Cardinals, and of course the offensive, the defensive line, and what should we
Yeah.
conclude about the Raiders?
Well, this game, I'm looking for us to establish the run and run it down their throats, at least in the first series or two, just to get that thinking about the run. Especially, too, now that the offensive line is struggling, we got to start running the ball a little bit more just to slow down the pass rush, even though I'm not worried about the Cardinals' defensive line, especially if J.J. Watt is out, especially because he's not his old self anymore. You know what I mean, the Cardinals' defense don't scare me at all. That's why I expect us to win this game pretty big. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, all that the Cardinals really do have right now is Kyler Murray, and that ain't really saying much.
Yeah. And of course, you got your final predictions right here. You got the final score.
Yeah, the I see it probably 42-21 Raiders.
Oh, 42, 42-21.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Raiders 40, and I got Cardinals. I got Raiders 40 and Cardinals 27 because this is gonna
Okay.
be like a close game.
Okay.
But like I say, it's the home opener for HLD Stadium, so anything
Yeah.
could happen. If they
Yeah.
had, if they had to reignite that power between everything about it, so it might be good. All right, so let's see about the comments right here. So we got Diego Orual wanted to cheap loose. Well, yes, and of course we got my brother as an experience right here. How's it going, Eric? And of course, make sure you subscribe Eric as an experience right here on his YouTube channel. He does amazing content for the Raiders. And of course, we got anything here. So they're going to say it's 21-17 for the Raiders. Hey, I think that, well, it's interesting right here. So,
Hey, as
so
long as we win, that's all that matters.
yes, we got an interesting right here. And on this, it's your final words because we're going to wrap this show because it's going to be like a quick recap. So, any
No, I
final
appreciate it, bro. This is my last thoughts. I just hope we go in there motivated, confident, and you know what I mean. Hopefully that we feed out the Raiders feed off electricity from the fans and everybody, and just win, baby. That's it.
All right, just win, baby. And then, of course, salute to you on TC Soldier, and I'll appreciate it too about it. So much love and respect about it. So salute to you and have a good day, okay?
Yeah. One last thing, Ralph. Riders, let's fucking go.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yes,
Ralph.
sir. That's what I like it. That's what I like it. Well, that was on TC Soldier, and boy, he got a lot of energy right here. So, I mean, this could be it. This could be because right now the game against Arizona Cardinals, which is totally amazing. If you're talking about the offense, the defense, everything might happen because what I told that some teams with 0 wins and 2 losses didn't make to the playoffs. Didn't make to the playoffs, but everything might change. Everything might change if Derek Carr will step out and run that ball so fast. And of course, we can stop the defense of the Arizona Cardinals, which is the most hardest thing to beat, along with Kyle Murray, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I gotta say it, if the Raiders got good players like Nate Hobbs, Dylan Parham, and of course Lester Cotton, we made we gotta beat them off. We gotta beat them off because this is home opener. So don't we gotta go to to see do not push the panic button, which is we'll be okay. We'll be okay about it. And I just wanted to say to oh, hold on a minute. All right, sorry about that because there was shows sounds like there because there was noise right here. There was noise right here in the room right here. But I guarantee you, it's gonna be like an important win for the Raiders. I know we just lost against Chargers with Chelsea Herbert, which is aka Chelsea Herbert, and I mean this could be impossible about it. But I honestly, thanks for the comments right here. And of course, thanks Diego and SNS Paris right here. And of course, thanks Hunter C. Solder to pulling out to get like a quick recap about what the game against Cardinals and of course Chargers. So I mean, this is gonna be important. And before wrapping up with this show right here, I just wanted to say 5 years ago, I'll just say it. 5 years ago, which is on September 8th of 2017, before I moved out to Charlotte, North Carolina, in my hometown, which is Barquisimeto, Venezuela, uh, there was a moment that cannot describe, and the joy was specifically important. That was the moment that I was graduated as a journalist with a final project. And my final project was doing like a short documental about a basketball player called Jose Martinez, which is from Guaros de Lara, which is a basketball professional team from Venezuela. And they just nicknamed the Shark, which is not very sharp from Gerardo Para or, whatever. They just called the Shark because they had an intense power on the paint. So that was the moment that I'm about to cry. And I loved that. I really loved that because that was that was the beginning of the that was the beginning that I was looking for my future and of course what's had to happen to my life because I was graduated as a journalist. And I made over the last 5 years, almost 5 years, the first years that I got moved in Charlotte, North Carolina was really difficult. Really, really difficult. And I just made that there's nothing that can wrong about it. So it might be too hard because I was struggling. I was working with several jobs, earning money, and I was working from 9 to 5, and sometimes at 6, sometimes at at 5 a.m., which is the hardest one. So I didn't sleep. I didn't eat well, and when it comes to to pandemic, which is 2020, I just started to moving on, and I just started to figure it out if my journalism career was ending or it's gonna be a reviving. I mean, it happens. It happens a lot of time. But I just figured it out that many of the people didn't realize that have achieved a goal. I just achieved a goal that it makes me very happy. And since then, since 2021, I just started a podcast called Captain's Corner, and of course, I just started with a lot of live streams with some of the fans of different teams like the New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, and of course, Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, I just wanted to say it. I just wanted to say to everybody else in the Raider Nation, shout out to these Raiders content creators out there because they just put all the effort, and of course, they just earn not only with a lot of views right here, but also the subscribers, and of course, the content that created to make sure what's going on for the Raiders Nation. And I love that. I just love that. Shout out to all these Raiders content creators who put all the effort, and of course, they just earned like a special, like a special list. Because if you're a part of the Raider Nation, you had to subscribe all these Raider content creators, just like graphic writer, SS Parents, which is Eric, Samoa Ryder, of course, there's Mitchell Rance, Naughty Nate, Raider Band, The Raider Critique, Captain Jack, OJ Daniel for the Chronicles of Black Hole, Raider Gabe, Dirty Raider. What else is coming? Digital Press, where they had because I gotta tell you something. Digital Press, Eddington, and of course those graphic designs are straight fire. And also I had to shout out to Hammer, Andy, and of course Sanjit with the Raiders film, Raider Tay, Raider Honcho. I mean, there was a lot of them. There was a lot of Raider content creators that I had everything about it. So I mean, those content creators for the Raider Nation right there are really incredible. They're fucking awesome. And it might be know that I'll just forget them. Afakazi Raider, Dirty Low, Raiders Down Under for Aussie, and of course Raider Ray because he had a goal for 1,000 subscribers. So don't forget to subscribe. Raider Ray and his goal for 1,000 subscribers, which tonight is gonna be on live stream along with Farrell, which is doing like a live stream between the Raiders was a chart between Cardinals, I say, because so they say, Diego, I'm here to listen to the dark side, so I'm not in the bubble. And that's explained because right now they have the image of the Denver Broncos. So you're welcome. And I just wanted to say to everybody else in this audience right here, this is going to be a little quicker right here. So that's it, folks. That's it, folks. So don't forget to subscribe to your boy, El Capitán Rafael, and of course, each social media. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram as at Capitán Rafucho. I repeat, at Capitán Rafucho. And also, you can subscribe me on YouTube channel as Rafael Chacin, and you can watch the latest episodes of Silver and Black Experience, and of course, some of my recent videos about what's going on for the week one of NFL, which is totally crazy. And of course, the Silver and Black Experience is coming out, and there's a lot of things that I would move on to the next week. And what can I say about it? This is it. There's been another episode of Silver and Black Experience, and of course, there is a comment right here from Naughty Ray Nate. So this is for you, Naughty Ray Nate, and of course for all the Raider Nation right there. I just wanted to scream 1, 2, and 3. Raiders! There you go. So this has been another episode of Silver and Black Experience with your host, Rafael Chacin, as known as El Capitán Rafucho. So here comes another episode. So I will see you there next time. Raider Nation for life, motherfuckers. Kaput!